I'm here in New York Harbor today to visit Ellis Island, which is the immigration center that welcomed my great-grandparents Pa and Anna to the United States. This is an incredible piece of American history, and if you haven't been here, I highly recommend a visit. It's absolutely incredible. And millions of Americans today can trace their ancestry to somebody who came through Ellis Island. So perhaps it's even part of your story. I wasn't even born in the United States, but I even have a connection to Ellis Island, which is why I've come to visit today. So my relatives came through here the same year that it opened. The story goes that my great-grandfather Pa got in trouble as a young man. He was in an altercation with somebody, and as a result of that, as a consequence, he got sentenced to 6 months worth of hard labor. And to get out of serving that time, he emigrated through Copenhagen from southern Sweden, and he landed here in New York in 1888. He actually came into Castle Garden, which is down in lower Manhattan in the Battery. It's now called Castle Clinton, and I'm going to go there a little later today. He then worked his way to St. Paul, Minnesota, where he was for a number of years, working on the railroad over there. But then he went back home to Sweden to get his fiancée Anna and bring her with him. So together they landed here at Ellis Island in 1892. And they were processed here together. And I'm going to head over to the Family History Center in a bit to see what insights they can give me about that time. Sweden experienced a wave of emigration in the 1800s and early 1900s, and so obviously they would have heard about America as the land of opportunity, land of promise, and so they took a chance and decided to come here. I do know that they only stayed for a little bit. Anna, as far as we know, had culture shock and never really fit in, and so she wanted to go back home. And they actually returned to Sweden after some time, where they went on to then raise a large family, including my grandfather, Henning. So I do have that connection to Ellis Island, and we have the record of them coming through here, which is really, really cool. I also have the record of him coming through Castle Garden in the Battery. This is the story that first got me interested in family history. As a teenager, I was working on this project, and that's when I discovered how little I knew about my family history. And I was sort of taken aback by the fact that this story was so close to me. You know, my great-grandparents, not too far off, right? But I had never heard that story, and had I not asked my mom, I would have never known about this, right? So it's amazing how fast stories evaporate, how quickly things disappear, and I want to encourage you to find your family story, because it's so empowering and so amazing when you do. Now, this story really did change my life, because I realized how many incredible and brave people came before me. And as I kept tracing my family history, that became more and more apparent. And it really gave me the confidence to be the person I am today. And that's the reason I'm visiting today, right? It changed my entire life. And it's incredible to know all of these amazing stories. And it's also funny that now I actually became an American citizen. So, you know, even though they went back, we still kind of ended up here. This is the second time I visited Ellis Island, but this is more profound because the first time I was here, I didn't have all the information. I've had now time to reflect and trace the stories and find all the records, so it means a lot more to me this time around. And whether you have relatives that came through here or you're just interested in history, I can't recommend this place enough. This is a great example of what makes America really cool, which is the fact that it's a melting pot with so many amazing contributions from people from all over the world. Immigration is always a hot topic to discuss. But if you were born in the United States, there is a good chance that you have a connection to Ellis Island. So find out and see what that story is, because I guarantee you'll find something surprising there. And especially for those of you who are New Yorkers. If this is in your backyard and you haven't been, please come see it. So often, you know, you don't play tourist in your own town, but this is one place you do not want to miss. So now I'm gonna head over to the Family History Center, and I'm gonna talk to Stephen over there, who's gonna have some amazing insights for me, I'm sure. And I'm also going to meet with Suzanne, who is the Director of Public Affairs over here, and she's gonna tell us a little bit more about the story of Ellis Island. So join me for that. So I'm here with Suzanne Mannion, who is the Director of Public Affairs for the Liberty Ellis Island Foundation. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. Welcome to Ellis Island.
I'm so excited to be here because this is where my great-grandparents came through in 1892, right after Ellis Island opened.
Yeah, that was year one.
That was, yeah.
1892 was
what
year
was
one.
the process like? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are right now looking out at New York Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And down south you see the Verrazano Bridge, and the ships would come through the Verrazano, and they would dock here in the harbor. And if you were first, second class, you were checked on the ship and then let go. So people who came to Ellis Island, the 12 million plus people who came through Ellis Island, they were steerage. They were
The third class.
third class, they were economy, in today's word. So they were put on a ferry and brought over here to Ellis Island, and then the processing began, and most people got through in 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And only 2% of people were sent back, and that was usually for health reasons, and the health reasons being if you could then not work and care for yourself, with a concern that you become a ward of the state.
Yeah.
So that was a key reason that people were sent back. But again, only 2%, which of course if you were one of them, tragic. And you know, families being separated and such. But if you came here and you were ill, there were hospitals on the south side of Ellis Island, and so if you were a child, your family could stay with you. But anyway, so they would arrive and go through into the baggage room, which is upon the entrance in the Ellis Island National Museum of Immigration. You walk into the baggage room, and they would leave their things there. And I can only imagine, as an immigrant, you would appreciate the following story, where there are just voices and directions and languages you don't understand. And I can't imagine one having left home on a ship to come here, but then so overwhelming. They would make their way to the registry room, which we call the Great Hall, and that is where they would wait to speak with one of the inspectors. And people, there is a myth that names are changed at Ellis Island.
Yes, a big one.
That is untrue.
Not true.
That is not true. Because if any of you have flown in modern times, basically it's the manifest that the airlines have now. That's what the inspectors were looking at. They didn't write anything. They would just, what's your name? Where did you come from? How old are you? Where are you going? Do you have any money? So they were just checking things off. They weren't.
And I'm understanding that there were interpreters available
for
everybody, so that there's no communication issues.
Correct. Interpreters, social service organizations. Keeping in mind it was steerage class who came here. People really probably just came with everything they had was on their back, or you know, so to speak. And they had service agencies here to help them that spoke their language and such. So people would make their way through, and then you'll visit, when you go into the museum, the stairs of separation. And when you've been processed, you are sent down the stairs of separation, which sounds it is dramatic actually. If you were staying in New York and hopping back on a ferry, there was one set of stairs that would direct you to the ticket area. And then if you were going to parts west and you needed to get a train, that was a different set of stairs. If you were being detained or sent back, there was a third set of stairs. And that would be why it was called the stairs of separation. So that was the experience. And if you were detained, if you were told to go back for any reason, there was a board of inquiry, so you could fight your case to fight to stay. So, and I don't have the statistics about how that went down.
Would you have to do that on your own, like, or could you get help?
Yeah, you could definitely get help through those organizations that we mentioned.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is amazing. It really is. And the idea was, they didn't want to turn people back. We were welcoming them.
Yeah.
And there weren't a lot of immigration laws at the time.
Right.
That there was, of course, the Chinese Exclusion Act, which is when it started. And so many of the themes are still today, where they'll take our jobs, they won't assimilate. So those are, that's just not contemporary. Those
Right.
were the fears. And if you look back at news articles, a lot of political cartoons dealt with those issues and those
Yep.
concerns. But at the time when Ellis had its peak years, the country was really building. And we wanted people to come in and help us,
Right.
and to be part of it. And so it wasn't a matter of wanting to turn people away. We were welcoming them. We're a nation of immigrants, and
That fear has always been there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really has.
It hasn't changed.
Unfortunately, it has.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of way to look at that in history. And actually, the Ellis Island National Museum of Immigration doesn't just look at Ellis Island. It looks at the years from the 1500s up until Ellis in one part of the museum, about how really we colonized and
Yeah.
what happened with that, and then more contemporary with people who are coming through today, how they're coming, why they're coming, and influences in their home country that drove them here, or things that pulled them here.
Yeah. And we're standing right here at the Wall of Honor, which is honoring people who came through here.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
actually, what I didn't know is that you can add your name even if you didn't come through Ellis Island.
Exactly. So it's the American Immigrant Wall of Honor, not the Ellis Island. So if you yourself and your husband,
Yes.
are immigrants, your
We'll be
names can
adding
be
our
on
names.
here. My family came before. I have an ancestor who came in the mid-1800s, so he didn't come through Ellis, he came through Castle Garden here in New York City, and so his name, it can be on there. But if someone who came yesterday, I have the family who came through Canada and Boston, their name's on here. So we are celebrating all immigrants, and the money, when you put a name on the wall, you're donating to our foundation, and that helps support the work we do with the National Park Service to restore the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island, and expand upon the museums. And we have online virtual educational efforts. So you help support all that if you put your name on the American Immigrant Wall of Honor, or if you become a member of the Statue of Liberty Ellis Island Foundation. And for information, you can go to statueofliberty.org.
Please do. I plan to do that and plan to put my name on here because I am an immigrant and I want to make sure I support that full.
Yes.
Is there anything that you wish people knew about Ellis Island or the foundation?
Well, about the foundation is I think we do some amazing work. And if you have seen the Statue of Liberty, she was restored because of the work we did, but more importantly, because of the funds that people donated to us. We've never had government money to the foundation to do the restorations.
Mm-hmm.
That all was public money. And that goes back to when the statue was even erected in the 1880s. Her pedestal was paid for by the public money. It wasn't government money. But back here at Ellis Island, if you visit, it is a most beautiful building. Yes. And hopefully you get a day like today. But frankly, even if you get a snowy day or a rainy day, it's just an amazing place to be.
Beautiful building.
The view is incredible. The building is incredible. And I would like people to just have an appreciation for those who came before us.
Mm-hmm.
We see people in our American Family Immigration History Center, they cry. Every day they find someone who's crying because they're exploring their family's past. And just putting the connection together. It doesn't have to be the individual who came over on the boat or the plane.
Yeah.
But you've heard family stories, and it sort of puts it all together, and you know you're literally walking in the footsteps of your family history. We, on our website, if you go to statueofliberty.org to the educational resources, we have some videos that talk about what happened if a baby was born on a ship. So let's tell you that. What happened if someone died on a ship? The whole issue with changing your name and that myth.
Yeah.
We have a video about that. And our database, which is free online, we have tutorials on how to use our database as well. So please, we welcome you to check that out. Yeah.
Final question. What would you say the impact is of this place on American society in general?
Well, The fact that about 35% of everyone who lives here now can trace a relative through New York, the Port of New York and Ellis Island, I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah. There's a really good chance.
Yeah, there's a good chance you have some sort of connection. And if you don't, just like this Wall of Honor behind us, the Ellis Island Museum celebrates all immigration. And I think that's
we have to support
who we
that.
Are.
That's definitely the melting pot.
Let's celebrate it. Yeah, let's celebrate it.
Absolutely.
It's what made us who we are today.
Yeah, and just me being a new immigrant, even I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Please come visit us,
please
or at
support
least go
the foundation.
online. Oh yeah, please support the foundation.
Yeah.
We do great work, and
Absolutely.
we're very proud of it. Thank you.
Keep it for the future generations. So I've just come from the Family History Center here at Ellis Island, and what a cool place. I met with Stephen, who's one of the researchers, and he was able to help me pull some records, and we just had a lovely chat about immigration and Scandinavian influences on American pop culture. Such a cool guy, and yeah, I've just had a lovely time here today at Ellis Island, and I really want to thank Stephen and of course Suzanne for making it happen, everybody at the Research Center and the foundation. They do such great work here, so if you want to help support them, please do. I'll leave the links down below for you so you can check that out. And yeah, I think that's all for today. And maybe the only thing left is this really cool shot of the Statue of Liberty. Enjoy. Alright, so it's been a few weeks since I was in New York, and I'm back in Chicago right now, and I got something in the mail that I wanted to share with you. So look what just came. I got my name inscribed on the Wall of Honor for the immigrants at Ellis Island. So this is so cool, and I just want to show it to you. You've got like a little official certificate. I put it under my maiden name because truthfully, that was the young woman who emigrated. Even though I'm a changed person from who I was when I first came to this country, I felt like I wanted to recognize her for everything that she went through. So I'm officially on the Wall of Honor. If you get a chance, stop by and say hello to me. I can't wait to actually go back and see it myself. So yeah. If you have an immigrant in your family, or if you're an immigrant yourself, be sure to do this. It's such a cool thing.